It's always difficult doing a road test of any vehicle just by climbing in it, going on a little trip somewhere, driving it a bit through traffic, particularly four-wheel drive, because four-wheel drive, by its very nature, should be able to handle an off-road trip or whatever, an extended trip, an adventurous trip, and do it well. So I've taken the Fortuner here to the Richtersveld, 6 days, and I've bashed the living daylights out of it. Fortuner was launched in 2007 as part of Toyota's IMV project, International Multi-Purpose Vehicle Project, which encompasses Hilux and all its derivatives, and Fortuner, which is one of those. So for all intents and purposes, this part up to probably here-ish is same as Hilux, and from here to the back is very different from Hilux. But as a package, you'll be forgiven for thinking that this is a station wagon Hilux. It doesn't behave like a station wagon Hilux. It doesn't feel like one. It doesn't drive like one. It's much, much better in a whole lot of ways as a family transport than a Hilux. I chose to test the Fortuner in the Richtersveld for a couple of reasons. The chief of them being is that we were going there anyway, but also because of our travelling companion. His name is Greg van der Ries. He knows the Richtersveld like few others. And he drives a big burly Land Cruiser, a behemoth of a vehicle perfectly suited to off-road excursions. But the other reason was that Greg is not shy of off-road obstacles, and by his nature would want to push the Fortuner to perform at its very limits. I think what I should do is first start with some of the things I don't like about it. Let's get that out of the way. Because the fact is that there are very few things I don't like. And these things I could have only have discovered if I had taken it on a long extended trip. And one of them is this. I occasionally bump my head on that, not that often, but I prefer as a overlanding vehicle or as a family station wagon, a drop-down tailgate. Much prefer drop-down tailgate. Nothing else. This other thing, which is probably the thing that annoyed me the most during the trip, the roof line is quite low. So when you get in, you bump your head only about once or twice, and then you get used to it, and then you dip your head down when you get in. Comfortable nice driving position, but this here, when rocking around off-road, this handle has smacked me in the side of the head a couple of times. But the modification I'd make is I'd just remove it. Problem gone. The D4D 3-litre turbo diesel is a revelation. I have never driven any engine, let alone a turbo diesel, that can pull at such low RPM. This thing will pull at 1,000 RPM, I think long before the turbo's even working. And you just give it a little bit of gas and it goes. It is remarkable.
How's the car going?
Fantastic. Absolutely brilliant.
Okay,
you want, huh?
I didn't see any wheel spin on anything there.
Get going again. I'm going to use left foot braking. It is fantastic. This motor is sitting at 1,100 RPM. I'm in low first. I'm choosing my line very carefully, and it's walking up here. It's just, it's fantastic. It's so easy to keep the revs constant. Here's a bad bit ahead. Probably the worst bit of all ahead. There were times off-road when I thought I had stalled and I just applied a little bit of power and off she went. Greg just said to me on the radio, he's already at the top, that if the Fortuner can do this, then the Fortuner's got to be good, because it's hectic.
I was graded about grade 4.
He reckons it's a grade 4 climb. This is what we come here for, I suppose. It is an unbelievably effective engine for off-road driving. I'm knocked out. I'm absolutely knocked out by this motor. The 2009 facelift, what did they do to it? Well, I think they probably applied themselves in correcting a question mark over Fortuner. The question mark being its stability. There was somebody who had a Fortuner that rolled it. He was carrying a very heavy trailer. He rolled it on corrugations. He put something on the internet. A few other people followed and said, yes, we've had a few problems with the stability of our Fortuner. My theory was that it was an owner-induced problem, and that the Fortuner perhaps is more sensitive than most to tyre pressures, and it particularly doesn't like hard tyre pressures on the rear axles on corrugations. And I think I'm correct. But I'll tell you something, this vehicle, 2.3 at the front, 2.4 at the back, reasonable load, it is as stable as any car on corrugations on gravel road as I have ever driven. It's not just stable, it's very stable. In the 2009 facelift, they added a skid control. And yesterday I put it to the test, to the extreme. It works well. I don't think it works brilliantly. I've driven other vehicles with skid controls that work more effectively and quicker than this. But I promise you this car is not unstable on gravel roads. Not a bit of it. With the facelift, they added a few things that I'm not crazy about, and one of them is they put 17-inch wheel rims. Now, 17-inch wheel rims means that my choice of off-road tyre is not that good. The standard tyres, I must say, are good. This is a South African assembled vehicle, and they've sourced a tyre from a local distributor, and it's a good one. It's a good all-terrain tyre, but it is 17-inch. Now, you can see here by the damage that we have caused that we've pushed the vehicle to its limits. This running board is not particularly well designed for off-road use. You lose a lot of clearance. What it's done for us though, it's protected the bodywork. What would I do? I'd remove this and I would put something called a rock slider. It's basically a very, very heavy steel beam underneath here. It's got a little step on it, so it also acts as a step, and it protects the bodywork, and also if you do rest the vehicle on it, they don't get damaged. A suspension lift, I would say you wouldn't need much more than 50 or 60 millimeters. These things are available in 4x4 equipment centers. Raise the suspension by that much. Replace the 17-inch rims with a 16-inch and a higher profile all-terrain tire. Chuck on a roof rack, bull bar if you like. Magic. This would be an awesome off-road plaything. So in conclusion, with a Fortuner, I would say you're getting exactly what you think you're getting. It is a light to medium duty SUV with real off-road ability, actually more than just real, dinkum off-road ability. A great engine, fantastic gearbox. I feel a bit silly actually. I can't actually think I don't know when I've last tested a vehicle, particularly having taken one on an extended trip where I've pushed the vehicle, where I've come back so utterly satisfied in the performance of the car. I can't think of another time. And I cannot think why you would buy a Hyundai Terracan or a Jeep Sport, Cherokee Sport. I can't. This is so much more of everything for about the same amount of money.